I just shared a story on my A Spark podcast about this time I was saved off the coast of San Diego by the Coast Guard. And it's a fun story. It's a ridiculous story because a bunch of things happened that even at the time I was like, this isn't happening. Is this real? Is this real? A bunch of compounding things were happening. I think the reason I hesitate in sharing this story is not out of any sort of embarrassment. Listen, it's way harder for me to get embarrassed than to be like, I was a dum-dum one time when I was younger. I got plenty of those stories. It's more because I think sometimes when we are sharing stories, at least for me, I want to be as truthful as possible. And at this point in my life, I know that it's really hard to remember things really, really accurately. In this case, I do think that I had a pretty good memory of it because as it was happening, something in my brain started switching on, going, this will be a story you tell for a long time. This is an important story. But sometimes when we relay stories, anything that we remember, we insert details that weren't there. We insert people, feelings, perspectives that we now have on that situation into what was happening in the story that we couldn't have known or felt because we weren't that person. As I'm doing more of these Spark podcasts, I'm realizing that I love sharing these stories. And maybe it's as a result of AI taking over our sense of what is truth and, people not believing in objective realities. It's really messing with what is true. And me wanting to tell true stories, but also recognizing that, truth can feel relative because we are flawed individuals. All of these things, I think, combine and have made me realize that in sharing these stories, I want to share I want to elicit a feeling. I want to use as much truth as possible and let go of the fact that I'm a human who is very likely not remembering certain things. Although in this story, I mean, I only share the things I know happened. I'm sure there's a million things I've forgotten, but I know certain objective things happened. But even in sharing these other stories, it's like I want to elicit a feeling, and I want that feeling to be one of connection and interest. And sometimes we get so caught up in something. If there's one tiny flawed detail, we're like, whoa, can't be true. And maybe truth is a relative experience. And maybe that's what sets us aside from things like AI. Maybe the fact that we know that truth is, something that changes. At least our truth is something that changes. Yeah. Maybe that's one of the things that makes us human, is that we're not obsessed with objective truth. We're obsessed with subjective feelings also being true. Maybe.